Hello and welcome along to the start of a brand new mini-series from FM20 with me, Daniel. We're taking on the Macclesfield Town job. There's a couple of reasons for it which we'll go through in a minute, and we'll talk about the purpose of this save. But thank you to everyone who's coming along this Sunday lunchtime, or if you're catching up later. As long as you're here, that's the main thing. It's really great to have you along. If you're looking forward to this new series, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. It does make such a difference. I'm not one to set targets, but it'd be absolutely amazing if we could do something special here. This series is going to be our short-term weekend series for the next few weeks. So every Saturday and Sunday at 1 PM, we'll have new episodes from this series. And we're going to play through the whole season, try and keep Macclesfield in a football league, and of course try and avoid points deductions, administration, and all of the off-the-field problems that have become synonymous with a club in the last couple of years. So for Macclesfield fans, you'll know it very well. For those who are regulars on the channel or perhaps fans of other football clubs, Macclesfield have been in dire straits the last couple of years. Sol Campbell led them to an unlikely revival on the pitch last season, but they've had points deductions galore this year. They've also had troubles financially, and they've got a squad that Football Manager predicts will finish bottom of the Football League. So we're here to try and save the day. We need to keep Macclesfield up. Of course, we're going to be dictated heavily by what happens off the pitch during the season, but we're going to try our best to control what happens on it. So I hope you're looking forward to this one as much as me, and strap yourselves in, because it's going to be unpredictable to say the least. If you are new along and you haven't already, please do subscribe to stay up to date, and turn that notification bell on for daily FM20 content. Our 2 long-term stories continue as normal, and our weekly live streams continue on Tuesday morning as normal. So if you haven't seen any of them before, do click all the links in the eye above and come and check them out, because we are having a great time at the moment, and I am loving making FM content. So let's go and get into this first day at Macclesfield Town. We're going to meet the squad, we're going to meet the staff, and we're going to see what we've got to work with this year. The Director of Football role's vacant. Those who follow this channel will know that's potentially important. We've got a small stadium, limited facilities, and the media prediction is the key one. 24th, bottom of the Football League. And we've got to try our best to avoid that. Only one team relegated this year because of Bury's demise, so it's slightly easier than normal. But of course, we are still heavy favourites to go down. Our best 11 there, a couple of names I recognise. Theo Archibald, who we had in FM19 for a couple of years. Was it a Stevenage in the head coach, I think? And then Jonathan Mitchell, who Luton had on loan many, many years ago. And we had him at Dorking Wanderers for a little while as well, over in the One Club story. So there are a couple of players we know, but it's not the strongest squad. So let's skip ahead to the first day. The budget will be key and probably non-existent. We've got to fight bravely against relegation and be competitive in the others. And look, the main objective is to sell the club for the chairman. He doesn't actually care what happens on the pitch. So there's going to be some interesting moments along the way. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And we've got a bit of a new message here, which I've never seen before. So we'll come back to that in a moment. But a wonderful start for us, and we're going to be taking charge of Macclesfield. We'll save the game and be back in a moment for our first day. Here we go then. We have taken charge of Macclesfield Town. We've got a big season in League 2 coming up. We'll deal with the tactics induction in a moment. We already know the club vision, which we'll accept. They want to be self-sustainable in 5 years, which suggests they're not at the moment. And before that, they're expecting a takeover to be needed. We've got a few players in top condition. The transfer window is of course open for pre-season. And there's lots of advice there, which some of it isn't promising. Request to focus on transfers because the youth facilities are poor. And we're adding takers for set pieces and that. We'll do all that in a moment. But let's go and meet the staff and meet the squad. But first, we want to know what our transfer budget is. Nothing. £84 a week in wages. That doesn't get you much in League 2. So I think one of the focuses for us is going to have to be which of our backup players are on the highest money and get rid of them. And then try and get in some loans, maybe a free agent or two. We're going to need to make it a busy summer of wheeling or dealing because this squad's predicted to finish bottom. We've got to do something with it. So let's go and have a look at the staff, which there aren't many of at the moment. We'll skip the induction for now and we'll just finish that and we'll set all the responsibilities off camera afterwards. But we want to look at the key staff. We've got an assistant manager in Danny Butterfield, a former right back, Southampton, Exeter. Was it Palace he was at before? It was, many years in the 2000s. He's a decent coach actually, but he's earning more than me. And I don't know that that's a good thing for us to have someone earning that much money. But then getting rid of him is going to cost plenty now anyway. He is a very good coach though, so at this level, he's something that we probably can't afford to get rid of. We've got no scouts or recruitment team at the club, that's a bit of a worry. We've got a head of youth development who's also a coach. Oh my words. Look at his judgment of ability. That is not good to say the least. In terms of coaching, he's very good at fitness, which is helpful. But otherwise, he's awful. So I've no idea what we're going to get out of him. We've got a goalkeeping coach and one senior coach as well. The goalkeeping coach is poor. And the senior coach, Danny Whittaker, a bit of a club legend. Was there before, wasn't he? Yes, so 7 years. Went away to Port Vale and Oldham and Chesterfield, and then came back and has been here 7 years in various roles, including caretaker manager. He's not the best coach though. I think he's here because he's known to the club rather than being good. So I might have to take the bold decision of replacing him. In terms of the medical team, we're pretty well equipped for physios. However, 2 of them are rubbish, so that doesn't bode well. And we've got data analysts galore and no scouts. The 2 data analysts, one of them's good, the chief one is not at all. That's worrying. I'm going to be honest, that coaching team and that staffing team is not quite what we were looking for. So the only thing that can save the day now is the playing staff. There either needs to be some potential in the squad that we didn't expect, or an opportunity to get a lot of backup players out on higher wages. So let's go through to the squad screen and see what we've got to work with. There are a few good star ratings there. Jonathan Mitchell and Theo Archibald, the 2 we talked about that we knew, they're the highest rated. So that's good, but we haven't seen the wages yet, which might be the problem. Let's go to the development centre. We'll see if there's any players in the young teams. So there's no one with any real ability. There's one with good potential, but that's not a help for us now. We need to resolve this problem immediately and get a side that can compete. If we're down in the National League, we're probably sacked and it doesn't help us. We certainly fail in this challenge. So we're going to put them in ability order, and then before we look at them, we're going to go and look at the contracts. Immediately, I can see the lowest player on star ability is the highest paid at the club, or joint highest, and there's one in the middle, and I know he's a goalkeeper. I recognise his name. Peter Vicente used to play for Stevenage. He's an old midfielder now. And tell you what, some of the highest paid players are all in the sort of lower ages and lower rankings for the highest rated players at the club. So that is something we're going to have to look at moving forward. We've got a few players on loan that we're paying towards, but not a great deal. And in fact, Jonathan Mitchell we're paying nothing towards, so that's a really good start for us. But potentially, I know it's going to be hard work, if we can get these guys to take wage cuts or we can get them out the club, it might not be the worst start for us, because that will free up a lot of wages for loans and free agents. But let's go through them in order then. We're not going to go in position order, or are we? In fact, yes, we'll keep those guys highlighted as we go back to reports info. We're going to put them in their best position order. And Jonathan Mitchell, we're starting with the best player at the club. 4-star ability, 5-star potential. He's a brilliant goalkeeper, can play as a keeper or a sweeper keeper, and he's just really solid across the board. And he's going to need to be in the best form of his life to keep us up, because he's going to have a lot of work to do this season. But for me, the one thing I'd want is a brilliant keeper, and Jonathan Mitchell is certainly that. We've got a second one in the shape of Reece Charles Cook, who's highly paid, but not the best rated. 3-star ability, 4 potential. He's not bad. He's got a 1-year deal. And the thing I'll be looking at with these is, can we get a future deal on them? Because we want them to be able to improve. I have no idea why we keep getting all these inductions now. But if we can get them to take wage cuts, let's have a look. Not at the moment. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem this year. And with wages being the first one, I've immediately noticed a second. There's only one right back and one left back at the club, and they're both only 2.5-star ability. So James Pearson is the right back, a fringe player who, let's be honest, is a National League player or a backup at League 2 level, and he should be a fringe player. So right back is an immediate priority with our £84 a week. Left back, we've got David Fitzpatrick. He's not quite as bad. He's a good penalty taker, but he's not ideal. We'd arguably like another left back too, but if we have to play with David Fitzpatrick, I won't be completely devastated. He's been here a few years, he's worked hard, he's done well. So I'll have a bit of faith in him if we have to. In more positive news, we have got 3 good centre-halves at the club. So Fars Kelleher, I believe that is. He is 3.5-star ability, 4.5 potential. A left-footed centre-half at 23 years of age. Not the quickest or the best physically, but he's a big man mountain of a centre-half. So if we defend deep and allow balls into the box, I think he'll do well. We've got the same for Nathan Cameron as well. A 27-year-old, a very similar mould. A big, tall, commanding centre-half. 3.5-star ability, 4-star potential this time. And mentally, he's very strong. Probably captain material. And then 22-year-old Fraser Horsfall. He is 3-star ability, 3.5 potential. A bit more physical, but not quite as good mentally or technically. But still another good centre-half. That's a promising start in central defence and a bit of a disaster at fullback. However, interestingly, we have now got 3 holding midfielders. So Michael Rose is the 36-year-old on high money, and he's the worst of the 3. Physically, he's over the cliff. I mean, mentally and technically, he's not bad. But I'd certainly, given the fact he's one of the highest paid players at the club, I'd be looking to get rid of him. So maybe we can get him out on loan, maybe we can get him out on a transfer. But either way, that's where we have to save money. Players like that, decisions like that, they're the tough ones that have to be made. We've got 19-year-old Harry Hamblin, who's a 2.5-star ability holding midfielder as well. Now, he's not versatile enough to play in central midfield, and he's not great at centre-half, so I'll probably try and loan him out as well. He's on fairly big money too. Jack McCourt is the last. He's on £900 a week, but he's brilliant. 3-star ability, 4.5 potential, only 23, natural in central midfield too. There's a lot more in that guy, so he's going to be the one that stays for definite. After that though, we move on to 2 players who are highlighted and are among the worst players at the club. 2-star ability, Adam Dawson. On £600 a week, a 26-year-old right winger. Not the best, to be honest. I mean, he's National League, arguably maybe National League North or South standard. He's been here a year and didn't make an appearance in the league. So why on earth? They just loaned him to Telford. So he's a National League North player. We're going to try and sell him. He's worth 17 grand if we can get something great. Peter Vitence is already transfer listed. He's 32 years of age. He's the joint highest paid player at the club. And he's nowhere near the first team. Absolutely nowhere near it. So here's someone we'll try and sell, loan out for all of his wages, whatever it will be. He's had a really good spell in the Football League, but he's past his best now, and that is showing. We can't afford to have players like that here on big money. On to the more positive signs in midfield though, and this is where a lot of the loan players start to come in. We've got Connor Kirby, who is 3.5-star ability, 5-star potential. At 20 years of age from Sheffield Wednesday, looks a really good midfielder. Can play as a central midfielder on defend as well. So I think we've got a few options with him. And he's not on the highest wage, £750. That's good for a first teamer. I'll be more than happy to have him here for the year. He believes the general lack of support for the manager is justified. That's something we're going to have to overrun. We've only got a National C licence. We're only a Sunday League footballer. So there's going to be a lot of building to do to get this team on our side. But Connor Kirby is one we've got to win over. We've got Corey O'Keefe as a left midfielder. 3-star ability, 4.5 potential. On loan for Birmingham for £230 a week. And actually, this is the sort of squad player we need desperately. Because he can play left back, right back, both wing back positions, central midfield and left midfield naturally. He is the sort of person you need on the bench. Coming from Solihull Moors to Birmingham, and they've loaned him to us. And he will certainly be on the bench for almost every game. Onto the right wing, we've got Ben Tollett, 2.5-star ability, 4-star potential. But let's be honest, he's not great yet. Another one on a fairly big wage that's not good enough for us. So I think we're going to try and loan him out. He's new to the club, we won't be able to sell him. And he has still got a big potential. So we'll loan him out if we can. We're trying to get money in and look for areas where we can improve. Theo Archibald is the star though. The only other 4-star rated player. A natural right winger, can play wing back and right midfield as well. Can also do everything adequately on the left and play up front. But we've had him at Stevenage. We know how good he can be in FM19. In FM20 we need him to star. Joint highest paid player, joint best in terms of rating. We're going to rely on him this season. Unless of course with a value of 175 grand we get a big offer. But it looks like he's new to the club this season. So we'll be keeping him here for now. A good player who we'll be relying on heavily. We've then got Shiloh Tracy on loan, not rated very well at all. 2-star ability, 4 potential. He won't get a kick to be honest. We'll use him in the under-23 side and we'll try and replace his space in the squad by getting another Lone Star. And the same probably goes for Danny Whitehead. 2.5 ability, 3.5 potential on loan from Salford. I don't really like his attributes. He's not good technically, which I like in a number 10. And mentally he's not great. He's relying on physicality, so off the bench he might be okay. But I'd rather use that loan space in the squad with someone brilliant. So if we can get 2 replacements for Tracy and Whitehead, I'll be a very happy man. 5 more to go then. Arthur Gunua is the first man. He is a left winger, inside forward and striker. 3-star ability, 4-star potential. On £800 a week, a new signing. And I like him. He's a decent player. Probably low League 2, top National League standard. But a player who can do a job for us. So he's someone who will be involved in the squad. But ideally not in the first 11. Though I appreciate with 84 quid of budget, I'm asking a lot. we're probably going to need to get 4 or 5 grand off the wage bill here to be able to do anything. We've got 2 poor strikers and then 2 really good ones. So Joe Ironside, 2.5 ability, 3 potential. He's a target man, which if we're playing with 1 striker, I really don't like. And considering we've got holding midfielders and a number 10, I can't see us playing a front 2. £800 a week he's on, and he's someone we'd like to loan out. He's new to the club. He's coming from York in the National League North, and he's played for Kidderminster at that level as well. He's not really a Football League standard player. Did play a few games for Sheffield United, but not really caused any fuss. Only scored 1 goal in the Football League, and that was for Hartlepool on loan in League 2. And I don't know that he's going to be a good player for us, so we'll try and loan him out. Jacob Blythe is even worse, 2-star ability, 3-star potential. He's new to the club as well, I think, on a free agent deal. Came from Barrow, who of course in real life won the National League, but that was after getting rid of him. So I think we're going to try and loan him out too. Again, 650 quid a week, a fairly big wage. Another one we need to get off the wage bill. So I kind of accept and understand we'll have to have a smaller squad than this. If we can loan out 7 or 8 of these off the wage bill and bring in 4 or 5 quality players, 2 or 3 on free agent deals and 2 and 3 on loan, I'm sorted, I'm happy. So we'll try and make that happen. But we have got some promise up front to finish on. Donovan Wilson, 3.5 ability, 4.5 potential, has come in from Burgos, who to be honest I haven't heard of. Spanish 2nd Division B2. And then the same, he's played in Spain for a B4 side as well. Has been at Wolves, has been at Exeter on loan. Not really scored goals in his career, but he's a good player. 14 finishing, 14 pace and acceleration. Good off the ball, decent composure. He's got everything you'd look for in a lower league striker to score goals. So I'm quite excited he's here, and he can play off the left wing as well. Here's someone who will definitely make an impact. That's some promise for me at last. And then Ben Stevens is the last one. 3-star ability, 5-star potential at 21 years of age. And actually, he's a natural number 10 too. So here's someone who we could play in that position in a 4-2-3-1. And we could push then the holding midfielder into central midfield. Or we can have him up front as backup to Wilson, or both, realistically, with our squad size. So 2-footed, decent finisher, okay physically, mentally he's not disastrous. A decent young player to have and plenty of potential. Been here for 1 year after playing for Stratford in non-league. And I've got a good feeling about him, I'm sure he'll be okay. But that is the long introduction to the Macclesfield squad we're going to be working with. We're going to need some of these guys to try and take pay cuts, particularly the backup players. Or we're going to be loaning out a lot of these and trying to get in 3 or 4 specialist replacements. It is very clear early on, fullback is a massive issue. That's something we've got to deal with. I'd like to get a bit more quality in midfield, but that will rely on us getting some players off the wage bill. We've got Dawson, Vincente and Rose. It's 2.5 grand a week between them. We've got £1.5 grand between those 2 strikers. If we can replace them with 1 attacking player, we've done our job. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. It's going to be a big month and a half before the season starts. Our first game with Macclesfield is away at Exeter. One of the promotion favourites, of course, reached the playoff final in real life. So it's going to be a taxing month for me off camera, but you can leave me to it in the knowledge that I will do the best I can to prepare this club for the Football League. We will be back in the next episode for a transfer roundup and for Exeter away in the first Football League game of the season. I really hope you'll come and join me. If you did enjoy this introduction and are looking forward to this Macclesfield Town mini-series, please do put a thumbs up on the video. As I said before, I won't set a target, but I really appreciate your support and I'd love if we could get as many as we can. Let me know in the comments what position you think will finish looking at that squad early on. Am I being optimistic, hoping that clubs will take most of these players? Or are we going to be in for a long season with the players we've got at the club already? Subscribe to the channel down below and turn that notification bell on to make sure you don't miss any of this series or the other content on the channel. We've got our weekly live stream series every Tuesday at 10 AM. We've got our daily FM20 content from our 2 long-term stories, the One Club story with Dorking Wanderers, and the head coach series, the Director of Football Challenge. They're every other day at 4:30. And then this one will be back on Saturday at 1 PM. Every weekend we'll have 2 episodes, Saturday and Sunday lunchtime. And we're going to sink our teeth into a season at Macclesfield, which will probably be led by off-the-pitch turmoil. So please come and join me for the first game of the season next time, a big transfer roundup to come. And thank you so much for joining the first episode of this series. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.